So I got a chance to see Ben Wheatley's High Rise, a much anticipated movie for me. I'm a huge Ben Wheatley fan. He's done movies like Kill List, Sightseers, and A Field in England, all of which are dark and comedic and very violent. And this movie is no different. So let's get into the things that I liked and disliked about this movie, starting off with the good. First of all, this movie from a film technical perspective is really fantastic. The cinematography is wonderful. It's very unique in its own right. It adds a lot of interesting perspective to the movie, and the colors, oh my god, this movie looks like a painting. I mean, the colors are so rich, they're so vibrant, they just pop, they're very crisp at the same time. The orchestral musical score in this is magnificent. It really is used effectively to drive the tempo of the movie, and the acting in this is absolutely phenomenal. Tom Hiddleston is born to be an actor. He is a truly talented thespian, and you've got the cast to back him up like Jeremy Irons, Luke Evans. In fact, I gotta talk about Luke Evans. This guy is having the time of his life. He is an absolute nut job in this movie. I mean, Jack Torrance has nothing on this guy. And Elizabeth Moss and Sienna Miller also give great performances in this movie. I know that they're blowing up and they're probably going to do bigger budget stuff here in the future, but I hope they carve out some time to continue doing indie work. So as you can see, from a technical perspective, this movie is wonderful. It's very, very well done and well made. But let's get to the story and kind of how this movie is as a whole. You got Tom Hiddleston, who's a troubled physiologist who's looking to start over, so he moves into, I think it's the 25th floor of the high rise, and we learn through his experiences and his interactions with other characters that there's this class segregation and conflict between the haves at the top of the tower and the have-nots at the bottom. And we watch through his eyes as the tension intensifies between the classes, and it leads to some pretty explosive consequences. And for the first 2/3 of the movie, I found it completely enthralling. I was really enjoying learning about this really strange and bizarre environment and all the characters in the high rise. And while I did find some of the characters' stories and backgrounds interesting, what I enjoyed most was the subtle and darkly comedic moments in the movie and the bizarre and borderline surreal atmosphere created by Ben Wheatley. And from the very beginning, you can tell that there's something totally off with this place. I mean, you can just see, you can just feel it. It just exudes this sense that there's trouble bubbling underneath everything. There's greater forces at play that are moving these classes just to a really big class warfare, and it's gonna get nasty, and it does. That sense of dread was captured very well in the first 2/3 of the movie, and it actually made the film feel like a horror movie, even though it really wasn't. So it was really fun watching Tom Hiddleston go down the rabbit's hole for the first 2/3 of the movie, but then whenever shit hits the fan, that's when we gotta get into my dislikes, because I hated the last third of this movie. In fact, I wanted to turn the movie off. First of all, whenever all the fighting and chaos starts, the movie just uses a montage to fast forward through all of it. It felt really strange and abrupt and kind of jarring, because I was like, wait, has it all started? Are we done? What's going on? I don't understand. The movie instead decides to spend time on the aftermath of all the fighting and craziness and just lingers there for like a half an hour. And not unlike Batman vs. Superman, the last act of this movie is so jarringly edited and irrationally put together to the point that I just don't care about anything that's going on, because I don't know these characters enough to care. Hell, most of them are just really unlikable, and I don't want to spend any more time in this world. And look, I love David Lynch, I love Lars von Trier, and Ben Wheatley's Kill List is one of my favorite movies of all time. I like dark and twisted, messed up, surreal, disturbing movies. I love that stuff. But this movie's third act took things to a level that just didn't seem necessary. It didn't add value to the movie or the narrative, and it just made me feel uncomfortable. I felt like I was watching Caligula. Overall, there are elements of a really great movie here, but unfortunately the third act is just such a violent, debauchery-filled mess that I don't think I'll ever see this movie again, although I do fully recognize that there's some really great things going on with this movie. That being said, this is still a Netflix movie for me, so I gotta give High Rise a 3.2 out of 5. But that's just what I think. Take it or leave it. What do you guys think? Have you heard of High Rise? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Not like it? Let me know down in the comment section what you think. Let's talk about it. And thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button if you like my review, and subscribe to my channel so we can do this again soon. I'll check you later.
Check you later. Check you later. Hey man, get off my case. Oh man. Chicks don't want to hear that shit.